I've got on the line Fran Burke from Accurascale. Hi, Fran. How are you doing?
Afternoon, Jenny. I'm very good. How are you?
I'm pretty good, thanks. And I'm guessing it's mad where you are. It certainly is round here.
Yeah, I mean, it's unprecedented times, really, isn't it? It's been very interesting experience, but you know, we just have to get on with it. And yeah, I think people are trying to keep their minds. Unfortunately, St. Patrick's Day was cancelled here, which has not gone
Yeah.
down well with a lot of people. But
I
apart
mean,
from that,
yeah, you know it's serious when
yeah,
Ireland cancels St. Patrick's Day, I have to say.
when the pubs are closed and St. Patrick's Day is cancelled, this has to be taken seriously. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's hopefully we come out the other side of it very soon, which should be well the best we can hope for at the moment.
Yeah, and I guess that one of the things, if we look to the positive side of this, that it does mean that a lot of people have maybe got a bit more time to spend on their hobby and all of those things that you think, well, yeah, if I had time, I'd do that. I'm guessing what we're seeing now is that a lot of people are starting to tackle a lot of those projects that maybe they've put off through lack of time, which it's great. And looking to the bright side of all of this, there's a lot of people in danger of getting cabin fever. They need entertainment, so I guess that's where we come in. Um, but
Yeah, absolutely.
but one of the things that you've announced this morning, 11 o'clock this morning, you officially announced the latest iteration of the Class 37, and this is coming out of the 37.4. So this is, I guess, this kind of finishes off the range of Class 37s now that you've announced.
That's correct. Yes, this was our Alexandra Palace announcement. Obviously, that show was cancelled due to the coronavirus pandemic, but we wanted to kind of bring some good news and a little bit of cheer to model rally enthusiasts while this is going on. So we decided to push ahead with the announcement. This was part of our overall Class 37 plan, and it's the modern incarnation of Class 37-4 as rebuilt by DRS in the late 2010 or early 2010s, late 2000s. So we're offering four different livery options on this from because there's a lot of retro livery variants that have been done by DRS, including large logo blue, Lord Hilton. Then we're doing an intercity mainline variant as well as regional railway concrete bob, which is actually hit the rails. It's still in Derby, but it hasn't been released in traffic yet.
Right.
And then we're doing one in DRS plain blue as well. So they've got a really good reception since we announced them this morning, and they will be due in early 2021 and will be tooled and delivered alongside the rest of our Class 37 project, which we've obviously had two previous announcements on them so far.
Excellent. I'm hoping that we've got Zoe is hot off the emails. She's got the images, so we're hoping to be able to put some of them up on screen for people to be able to have a look at. But I must admit that for me, I'm incredibly pleased to see the intercity and the regional railways liveries. And when you've come to decide the liveries on these, has there been an element of people asking you for certain liveries that you've been able to feed through into the announcements and going for the things that people keep asking for?
Yeah, there is a bit of that. Obviously, we get more so asked for variations or variants rather than actual particular liveries. So with something like Class 37, so we get asked for Class 37-4 is very popular, variant of it. When it comes to liveries, we do look at kind of what has been released before, what's new and different, what we like ourselves, and because we're all modelers ourselves and we all have an interest in it. And I know Concrete Bob in particular was one that we really pushed for because we really like the livery and it's new and it's ready just to come back on the main line. So there's an element of that, and there's an element of what's gone before, what people ask us for as well. We do listen to a lot of customer feedback and try to assist that as much as possible through social media and emails and stuff like that too. So there's a lot of different aspects we take into consideration before we put a range together.
Yeah, and I must admit, I mean, the 37.4 is, I guess, one of the most popular of the 37s, probably because of their association with things like the routes out to like Fort William and that up in Scotland, and across some of the most picturesque countryside that there is. And I'm sure that these are going to be incredibly popular. So hopefully we've got going up on screens. You shared with us some of the production artwork, and we've also got are these the CAD pictures, the ones in grey, or are they tests from the tooling?
The grey is actually the CAD renders, so
Right.
that is the CAD, and these are going into tooling in the next couple of weeks. So we've started on some of the 37 already, and then this is another part. It's a large process because there's so many variations across them. So this is why they'll come a little bit after the first ones we've announced.
Right. Actually, I must admit the CAD images do look so good. I thought it was a real model, but I mean that does look amazing. And with the 37, I know I've often described the Accurascale models as being very much the Rolls Royce of models. And there's certain aspects with the Class 37, certainly the 37.4, that you've looked to other models on the market and thought, we've got to do X, Y, and Z on that hasn't been done. Is there's certain areas of this model that, in your opinion, really takes this class of locomotive to a new level in model form?
Yeah, I mean, the way we approached the Class 37 was it's been such a long-lived prototype, and there's been so many different rebuilds and variations of them that we
Mm.
approached to do a number of ones that have not been done ready to run before. So that's why we started with Class 37.6.
Mm.
This is, obviously the original, EPS and then DRS machines with their different light packages and all those variations and filled inside windows that we decided, well, these have never been done for before. They're almost like a class of their own. And it was the same down for the car headlights, Scottish Class 37s. The original 5 builds have different differences that are not consistent across the rest of the original Class 37s.
Mm.
And these modern incarnations of the Class 37.4 are also different. With again filled in body side windows and other LED lights and stuff like that as well that have not been done in model form before. So we were able to create a range of Class 37s that can appeal to people who are looking for those variations, and
Mm.
they actually are different to anything else that's out there. And obviously, we want to bring our own trademark goal of trying to push for as high quality and high detail as possible.
Mm.
And obviously just give it a fresh approach, which is obviously what we've trying to do with stuff like Class 37, Class 92, and the Delta and stuff like that as well.
Brilliant. And certainly, I mean, I'm looking at the Intercity and the Regional Railways. You've picked two of my favourite liveries there, so I'm really looking forward to these. We've had a few questions come in through the chat room on the stream. And we've got SLD51 asks, any news on the Accurascale Class 55? We're just wondering whereabouts you up to with that.
Yeah, the Deltic is, I suppose, with the Deltic, it's been, we've decided to make a number of changes on it, which delayed it. So we will see now on decorated samples due in May, I believe, that we've totally redone stuff like the grills, and we've made a few other tuning changes as well. We weren't happy with some of the handrail placement, which delayed it. So we're still on course for delivery in November, all going well, and that's where we're at the moment on that. I've had a preview listen to the sound project, and it does sound really good. It still needs some tweaks before we put it live, but we hope to show that off very soon as well. And from a feedback point of view, the Deltic has been really well received by experts and modelers alike who really like the shape and the differences to detail. And again, with the Deltic, we were able to offer stuff that was never done before. They've been in preservation even longer than they were in BR service on the main line. And we can do stuff like the high intensity headlights, so it gives currency and modelers an opportunity to run the Deltic on rail tours. And obviously the Purple Monster Portwork one has been very popular and that has white back headlights, so we decided to do that as well. Right. So that's where we are with the Deltic at the moment.
And I guess that really does show the attention to detail that you guys go to, that you're not afraid to push back a model to get things absolutely right. And the end product, when it does come, I've described it as being the definitive model, because you do go through this attention to detail to get everything absolutely perfect first time.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what we try to do. I mean, the way we look at it is that we're going to be selling these for a number of years. We want it right from the outset. Mm-hmm. And I think if you bring a model to market and it has a disappointing flaw, whatever that might be, I think that's the biggest difficult point of all. I can understand delays are very disappointing, and they disappoint us as well because we're really eager to get them there. And these are models that we want to run on our own layouts ourselves.
Yeah.
But we feel if there's a few months delay, it's worth it to make sure it's the absolutely best model it can be, rather than release something that's flawed. And I just don't think that's very fair on the model then, who has to pay a lot of money for a model. So we want to make sure it's right, so they are getting the absolute best locomotive or wagon or coach that they can get.
Brilliant. Also got a question from oorail.com, just asking any ETA on the Mark V coaches.
Yeah, Mark V's have entered tooling. It was a little bit delayed because of the corona pandemic in China. But the factory tooling shop is back up and running as of this week just gone, and tooling has begun. We hope to have samples, I think, around May time, late May, early June. And if they're all okay, then we should have production before the end of, delivered to us before the end of this year. So we're looking at around Q4, and it's just one of the unfortunate side effects of the coronavirus. But again, it's not a huge delay. We expected late summer, so it's going to be a couple of months late, but it should not be too bad.
And also, just looking down the comments as well, again, asked by oorail.com, any news on Accurascale's sister company, IRM's A-Class?
Yeah, the A-Class is our first Irish model locomotive. The Metrovic. It's currently, again, it's pretty much at the same level as Deltic. We are probably due decoration samples a little bit before the Deltic, so I think we're due them in early May. And the sound project as well, we've recorded the GM sound and we'll have news on that soon, and we're working on getting sound from the original Crossy logo. Right. That is the only one running is in Australia, so that's a bit of a logistics headache that we've got at the moment. But we are looking at delivery at September for that.
Is that the same engine as the Class 28 Metrovic had, or at least a similar one?
Correct, yeah. It's the exact same engine, yes.
Yeah, it's a shame they haven't got the one that's at Bury in the UK running. That would have been a little bit easier to record, I guess.
It would have been a lot easier. I got to know a guy who's involved in the preservation of Kobo, and I've been hassling to hurry up and get it finished, but unfortunately I don't think they're going to get it done in time, but we'll get there. But that's a fantastic project, and I think British Rail had 10 or 20 of the Kobos, I can't remember offhand. Irish Rail,
like that, yeah.
Yeah, Irish Rail bought 60 of the A-Class and 33, I think, of the C-Class, which was a smaller logo, all across the engines, and they were all re-engined with GM power units in the late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah. So I know British Rail had no end of trouble with the original engines in the Class 28s, which was really the reason why they got the chop when they did.
Yeah.
We also got a question from SLD51 asking, how's the Class 92 project?
The 92 is currently in tooling, and we've come up with a solution for the pantographs finally, which will be able to raise and lower it with DCC. It will use cordless motors, so it'll be a fairly silent operation. And we are looking for a sample with that in May, and then delivery around November time.
Excellent. I also got a question from Natalie Porter asking, will Accurascale ever do a steam locomotive? Is that something that might be on your radar for the future?
It is. We are working on a steam locomotive in the background at the moment, and we have identified a second prototype that we're researching at the moment.
Oh, right. Brilliant.
And
So,
we should have news on the first one later this year, all going well.
excellent. Well, I really do look forward to that because given the standard which we've seen the wagons come out thus far, and the looking at the CADs for the Class 37, they look superb. I'm really looking forward actually to anything else that you're going to be bringing out because it is going to be the definitive model. I have to say. I mean, I've got in front of me some of the Chemflow tankers that I did a review on, and it amazes me that the more I look at these wagons, the actual depth of detail that's on them. I mean, I guess when you set out to do a particular model, your aim is to make a model that will last and last for the 40, 50, 60 years, that nobody will feel a need to retool it because there's nothing to improve on. And I found with these, if you looked at them under a magnifying glass, it's like the detail, it just gets further and further in. There's more that to see the closer you get to these wagons. It's just, I know I sound like I'm gushing like a fangirl, but they really are incredible works of art. And um, I described them as the Rolls Royce of wagons, and I stand by that comment. I really do.
Well, you're very kind for saying that, and we really do appreciate that feedback. And I mean, we've released a number of wagon models at the moment, and we try and improve with each one. And our latest wagon, which is the PFA 2-axle container flat,
Right. Yeah.
has gone down very well and has done really, really well in magazine reviews and lots of customer feedback. But we do listen to, if someone has some suggestions and critiques as well, and we try and build that into every model we do. And it's about kind of driving standards forward, and that's kind of one of the principal reasons why we started into the UK market. It was, well, can we, build the very best models we can? Can we challenge ourselves to really put out the very best models we can in all our, research, design, manufacture, and, really appeal to modelers? And the other way we look at it as well is, are we the cheapest on the market? No, but we're not the most expensive either. But what we try to do is build as much detail into it as possible, so you get the very best value for money, in the sense that you get the very best product for the most reasonable price we can do it. And, model alloys aren't the cheapest thing anymore, absolutely. But it's about giving modelers value for money, and that's what we try to do in all our models.
Yeah, very much. I mean, certainly when I review things, value for money is one of those areas that I think is very important. And it's like you say, model railways aren't the cheapest of hobbies, but at the same token, you're getting a lot of model for your money. One of the things that I'm quite curious about is what attracts you to the certain prototypes that you've done so far in model form. I mean, things like the HUO hopper wagons. Some might think it's quite an unusual prototype. What was it about a model like that attracted you to a prototype like that attracted you to making it in model form?
Well, there's a group of us involved. There's I think we're up to 8 members of staff at the moment. But when we first started with the HO, there was 4 of us, and one of us really needed wagons like that for their layout. So it was slightly selfish, but we have to build a business case into it too, in the sense that there were many thousands of these wagons built, I think 5,000 or 7,000 something.
Yeah.
And they covered extensive amounts of the country. They were long lived, they ran with steam and diesel. And air was right up into the mid 80s, and it was just kind of, is there a business case, and will these be viable? Never done ready to run before. So with stuff like that, we built into it with the Semfos. They were kind of like an iconic wagon from the 60s, Silver Queens. So we thought that would be a good one to do, and they've done tremendously well as well. And yeah, I mean, there's a number of different things come into it. Deltic, a very glamorous, big, large, noisy logo. That is an enthusiast favourite, and was one that we were certainly passionate about. The 92 was a part of doing the Mark V Caledonian sleepers. We want to kind of start getting into a situation where we build a full train rather than offering bits and pieces. So we can, push full train formation. You have your locomotive, you have your wagons that go with that logo and stuff like that. So it's a variety of different things come into it, and it's we're all passionate about different areas of VR and stuff like that, but it's also part of what does the market need, what our model is really looking for at the moment, as well. So a lot of different considerations come into it.
I mean, it's a very you have to have a lot of confidence to come into a marketplace that's very extensively dominated by a number of very big, long-established companies. But the fact that you've done that and you've brought models to market that have really broken out into the limelight, that have shown that you can get the standard that really gives all the other manufacturers more than a run for their money. Hats off to you. You've taken on the big boys and you've done extremely well. And I'm just really looking forward to what else you bring forward. But when you started, that must have been quite scary, I guess, to be breaking into that kind of market.
Yeah, I mean, we had some experience through our Irish models, and we originally started with 2 Irish wagons, and we were doing it in our spare time. And when we finally landed the products and the models, and we saw it packaged in its box and people buying them and really loving them, because there'd never been a ready-to-run Irish wagon before, which is why we essentially started. We really got great buzz off that, and we all had interest in British Railways because that's what we grew up with, around Formby train sets, Lima and stuff. The 80s was very big here. There was no Irish outline models, and obviously we read all the magazines are British outline magazines. So, and some fantastic prototypes that we love, like 37s, like Deltics, and I see even an A4 running around there, the favourite of mine, and stuff like that as well. So I suppose with the UK market, we had really good knowledge of it, but we decided to do a wagon first, to dip a toe in the market, see how it will be received, and see what the feedback will be from that. And it was just so tremendously positive. We decided, well, this is where we need to go, and we really have decided just to do our own thing, put our own stamp on it. We were modelers ourselves, and we've decided to take on feedback, and we've read extensively on forums and customer surveys and all that kind of stuff, what people are looking for, and it matches a lot what we want to do. So we decided, obviously, to kind of keep pushing with that as well.
Great. One final question before I let you get on, but it's I'm really sorry to the person who asked this question. I've lost their comment, but just asking whether there's any more O-gauge in the pipeline.
Yeah, as you know, we've done one O-gauge model, which was the HO hopper in O-gauge, and it's done quite well. It is definitely something we're looking at, and we're identifying prototypes at the moment. This is between wagons, coaches, and locomotives, so we haven't fully decided what we're going to do next. We are looking to do more O-gauge. So if anyone has any suggestions, go on our website and email us and say, look, I think this will be a really good logo to do, this will be a good wagon to do, this will be a good coach to do. And yeah, we will definitely look to do more O-gauge, but we just haven't fully decided what to go with yet. And just to keep in mind that new models is a year to 18-month process, so it's going to be a few months away yet, but it's definitely something that we're going to look at to do more of.
No worries. Well, look, thank you very much for taking some time out to join us here. And it's been great to have a look through the Class 37-4 announcements. And I'm really looking forward to not only them coming through, but some of the other models too. And looking forward to seeing what else Accurascale's been cooking up. I'm intrigued by the talk of a steam outline locomotive. But look, you take care of yourself, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks very much as always, Jenny. Really appreciate you inviting us on, and you and your viewers, I hope you all stay safe and look after yourselves.
Okay, look, thanks very much. You take care. Bye
Yes,
for now.
bye.